Hello, and welcome to our webinar on customer support training through human-centric in the digital transformation era. I'm Camille, and I'm excited for today's session with my co-host, Lisette. Our goal is to revolutionize customer support training in the digital age, and we have an expert speaker joining us for her insights today. We're honored to welcome Desiree Hammond. Hi, Desiree.
Hi, thank you.
Yes, she is the VP of Training and Development. As our esteemed speaker, throughout the next 30 minutes, we'll explore the transformative power of human-centric training methodologies in the digital transformation era. So, without further ado, let's start discussing the future of customer support training. Desiree, take the stage.
Thank you, Camille. So I have a few things I've prepared that I would like to share, and really just starting out first with the ADDIE model of instructional design. And it's really not anything new, but it's a very important model that we do follow here at HUMASH in the Training and Development Department. Other organizations probably use a piece of it, but we really do spend a lot of time and energy following this model. And that's because we know the measurable impact that it has on the other end of it. So just to quickly level set on what I'm talking about, when I say ADDIE model, I'm talking about analyze, design, develop, implement, and evaluate. And those 5 steps, we really treat them as cyclical. And you can start really at any spot of the journey, just depending on where your client or current project is at. But I mentioned it's nothing new, but it is something that we're recognized as doing very differently from other organizations. And I think the different part is really where it begins, which is the analyze portion. I'm sure anyone listening to this has been to at least one presentation or one training in their life where it was death by PowerPoint. You've probably heard that before. Death by PowerPoint. Somebody opens up their PowerPoint presentation and they read it to you. And frankly, it's boring and nobody learns that way. So we pay very close attention to the science of learning and adult learning theory, but we also, of course, incorporate digital technologies, artificial intelligence, all sorts of wonderful things. And I'm excited to share with you guys today some of the things that we do. But the piece that is often missed is that first part, that analyze part. And so that's a really important part, because before you ever crack open PowerPoint to start designing what your training curriculum is going to look like, you need to make sure that you've met with your subject matter experts to really understand what is it that your customer support agents need to know, and what do they need to actually be able to do as a result of that training? And then everything follows that. So you don't just open PowerPoint and get started. You have to really look at that. But something that we use, talking about technology to help us with this phase, is not just speaking with our SMEs, but for our virtual teams across the US, for example, whenever customer service agents have a question, they're on a call with a customer and they're presented with something maybe they don't know the answer to. They use our internal chat system to ask a supervisor for some support. So of course they get the answer and then they go back, they make the customer happy, everybody's good, they've now learned. But what we do that's very different and very amazing is we actually have reporting and data and a dashboard where we can pull out and see what questions are agents asking. So even after training, we can find out what are the gaps, what are they really good at also, but what are they still challenged with? So we use that information when we're in the analyze phase of ADDIE, and we go back and we say, what do we need to do differently in our training to make sure that's more effective next time? And of course, so we're learning from our current agents who are asking the questions, but we need to make sure that we're also assisting them. Because again, this is a virtual team in this particular example I'm giving. So maybe I'm the agent, I asked the question, I got the answer, great. And now we know how to improve training for next time. But what about all of my fellow agents right now? There will be a gap because they won't be in the next training class. So what we do is we take that same information and we create infographics or short little video clips, just-in-time learning, as we call it in the industry. And we create hot questions and what are the themes, what are the gaps, all these items, but we put it out to everyone through that same chat system, because it's that same situation when for our brick and mortar call centers, if I learn something right now, I can turn to my friend right here and say, hey, I just learned this thing, or I can even ask them a question. But in the virtual world, it's more challenging. And so that's how we've used technology to really help with that. So moving on in our ADDIE phase, another thing I want to make sure I talk about is our amazing team of instructional designers. So they use this data to analyze, but then they move into the design phase of the process. And so we're still not opening up PowerPoint yet. We're not there. But during the design phase is where our instructional designers are meticulously designing what the training is going to be. So they've got now what agents need to know and what they need to be able to do. And we've got this data, so we've prepared the content. And now it's really starting to set the stage or the blueprint of what the training facilitation team, the ones who actually train the training, what are they going to say? So we have to make sure they have the information, but then also how are they going to deliver it? Does it make sense to be a self-paced training module through, an e-learning module online? Does it make sense that it's a video that they can pause along the way and go back if they need to listen to another section again? Does it make sense for it to be a brick and mortar classroom or a webinar format or any other type of learning technique? We use many different ones depending on the situation. So that's what the instructional designer is doing. Once they've got that figured out, then I said meticulous. Now we get down to what's it going to look like? So what sort of font pairing are we going to use? What sort of colors are we going to put on the screen or in if there's a workbook or a virtual workbook or any of our activities? And it may sound silly to say that we care so much about the color, but we don't decorate PowerPoint slides. We're not like, you know what, I really like the color purple. We don't do that. We pay close attention to, again, learning sciences and what colors evoke the right emotion for what we're going after. What sort of mood do we want to set? What's going to make agents really pay attention to this one particular thing? So that's what I mean when I say meticulous. So the instructional design piece and that analyze and the design phases sort of work together to start mapping out what training is going to be. Then finally, we move into the develop phase. And that's where if you're using PowerPoint now, you can open it and you can start creating your slides, but it's all designed off everything that we had prepared prior to that. One area I really am just so excited about, AI. Everybody talks about AI, right? And obviously Humosh is huge on artificial intelligence. We've been doing this for years. And we're incorporating this now into training development. And so it's really exciting because going back to adult learning and how we actually retain information, you have to draw some sort of a connection. We all have experiences that we bring into training with us. So how can we draw on our own experiences, maybe as a customer, and make the content really stick so that after training, we do whatever it is we're supposed to do to satisfy that customer. And so stories really resonate. So when we spend time with our subject matter experts and learn what these stories may be, now I need a visual to it. So of course, you can go to stock images, all sorts of different websites online. There's a lot of amazing ones that we do still use. Get to find the right picture or the right video to tell that story. Well, now you can go to AI because we're all trained on how to enter the right prompt. And you can get the perfect picture. So in just one slide, you've got the voice from our amazing facilitators. And then you've got this image that truly represents that situation. So now our learners, they see it and they feel it. It's like a really good movie or a good show where you're right there and you get it. And now you'll remember later and you'll remember why that particular concept is so important. And it saves us hours, literally hours, to be able to lean into AI and other technology to be able to do that. It's pretty incredible. Actually, I think of one recent example for one of our clients. We needed to be able to tell a story about a gentleman who's coming home from work, just exhausted. He works in the construction industry, and we wanted to tell a story about really what his life is like and get agents to be more empathetic to the customer that's at the other end of the call. So construction worker comes home late at night. He's been working with his hands and his body all day, so he's exhausted. And when he walks in, he's stepping over his kids' toys in the living room. And then his wife is sitting at the kitchen table and she's exhausted, and she's doing billing for their own family business on the computer. How on earth can you tell that in one picture on one slide? Well, with the right prompt and with AI and the team that is very skilled on how to do this, we were able to create the most perfect image. It's pretty incredible. So moving on then is the implementation phase. Now everything's designed, so we've got that handoff. So this is where our team of instructional designers hands over all that material packaged up, beautiful, ready to go, over to our training facilitators who are absolutely amazing and skilled in how to facilitate learning, read the room, and for our virtual teams, read the virtual room and know when we need to spend a little bit more time in one area or we're ready to move on. And there's a lot of techniques there as well. But that's where we hand it over, and that's where the magic happens, the actual class. But then we move on to the evaluate phase, which I really wanted to highlight today too, because this is another phase that is often neglected by organizations. And a lot of it comes down to time and resources, but it's a very important step. So you've delivered the training, but do you know if it was actually effective? And I remember thinking back to grad school, it was a very common discussion in class of how do you know that training did anything? Maybe it was fun. Okay, that's cool. But did I learn anything? Did I apply it on the job? Was there a measurable impact? Is a client saving money or saving time that equals money? What's the outcome? And we have some amazing technology that we have. I'm very, very proud of this technology that's been developed for us during that evaluate phase, where we can find out if the training actually worked. And if not, we can figure out what to do with it. And so in the evaluate phase, of course, we have surveys. Every training program ever, of course, there's a survey at the end. It's usually referred to as a smile sheet, and it's asking you, what was the comfort level of the room? And did you like the facilitator? Would you recommend this? And all of that is useful information. So we do that survey as well, but we add to it because what we really want to do is get at how confident does a customer service agent or a sales agent, how confident do they feel right when training ends, right before they go take or make that very first live call with a customer? Because anyone who's ever been on the phones before, you could have been doing it for years, but for any new project, that first call is going to be the most nerve-wracking. So we have our survey and our assessment right before to really get it. Do you feel ready or not? We know that confidence is a very strong predictor of performance. We're constantly measuring confidence. So then we do that survey and they go on. So that's not too different from anywhere else. But what is another layer that we've added on, 2 weeks after agents have been out on the floor or the virtual floor, depending on which teams we're talking about here, they've been doing the job now. And so now we survey them again. And it's very similar, but in this next survey, what we're doing, and all this is done through our learning management system, what we're doing now is saying, take a look back at your training now that you've been doing the job and tell me, how effective was it really? You may have thought it was all rainbows and butterflies and everything was perfect. But then when you went out there to do the job, you're getting questions you've never even heard about. And you're thinking, gosh, they didn't teach me that in training, or I have no idea how to respond, or this was supposed to be like this and it's not. And the best thing that a training team can do to prepare agents is to eliminate surprises. Nobody likes that kind of surprise. So we use technology to be able to do that as well. And what's so amazing, in addition to these surveys that we're offering, is our dashboards. We have what we call training effectiveness dashboards. And in this dashboard, we have all of the KPI information for each client. It's all separated by client. We have all the KPIs in there. So maybe it's hold time, handle time, after call work. Of course, there's quality assurance data in there for every single one of our projects. And so what we can do is we can say, during that very critical time immediately following training, those 2 weeks, how well did agents perform? And we can dial in and dial in and dial in, get deeper, even right down to the line item of a QA sheet to say, is this the line item that people are having trouble with, or a different KPI? What's the problem? Wow, they sure have a lot of hold time. We'll find out what they're doing with that hold time. Why? And we can dig in and we can get answers. And what's truly amazing about this is now I want to almost go back to grad school and say, we found the answer, because now we can look and see how effective was that training at meeting the learning goals, which are tied to the dashboard data. And also we can compare cohort by cohort by cohort, or wave by wave by wave, depending on which terminology you use. So now I can compare Classroom A, this first group of agents that went through this training, and how they performed, with Classroom B, with Classroom C, all into the future. And what's really amazing about that is now all these incremental changes that we're making between training, we can look and see what's making it better. It's really amazing. Obviously, I'm really excited about it because I don't actually know of anywhere that's actually doing this exact thing. And it has made a huge difference. And now we can really take a look at measurable impact in training. So very exciting, because now our clients know that we're saving you money, we're saving you time, and really just making everything better. The saying, anyone who works at Human with me has probably heard me say this 1,000 times. No two training courses should ever be exactly alike. If they are, there's something wrong. No training will ever be absolutely perfect. We're continuing to learn through all this data and these dashboards and other technology, and reinsert into the training to make it better and better with each wave. So I know that innovative training approaches always comes up, and other ways that we're using technology. So I'll bring up a couple other examples. For each and every client that we have, we create, we design, we develop, and we implement. So again, that's part of the ADDIE model, what we call a resource hub. This is an online knowledge base, and what you could refer to as a one-stop shop for anything you could ever need if you're an agent while on a call with customers. And we don't just have this information out there and say, okay, your training's done. If you need any help, go over here to the knowledge base. we train to it, and we spend a lot of effort during training to make sure that agents know how to fish for information. That whole idea of, I'm not giving you a fish for the day, I'm teaching you how to fish for life. And to highlight a couple of things about the Resource Hub, we make it so that it's quick and easy. So any bit of information that an agent could use is never more than 2 clicks away, because we've decided that if it's 2 clicks away, it takes too long. It'll reduce the confidence the agent has. It will also probably make the call longer. And if not the call itself, with the customer, hearing that dead air, then it's hold time. And of course, none of that is good. No customer ever wants to hear, I'm trying to, well, they're trying to find information. And in addition to that, now it's less weight for the supervisor. Of course, supervisors and team leads and subject matter experts are there to help agents always. But in a world where they're asked less of those more basic questions that an agent can find easily on our Resource Hub, now they can spend more time listening to calls, doing quality assurance, doing coaching, and getting us better and better for the long term. It's a really amazing tool that we created and we now use on every single one of our clients, and it works out really well. Another thing I would like to talk about is for our retail clients. Sometimes it can be difficult to train a customer service or a sales agent on the product that's offered by a retailer that's one of our clients. And so I wanted to share one really great example of something that we've done in this digital world for our virtual team in the US. So for this particular client, they're a very well-known, high-quality cheerleading apparel company. And if you've ever seen a cheer uniform, there's all kinds of different details, all kinds of colors and letters and all sorts of customization options. Now, if you were working in a warehouse, you would probably see all of these in person, but working on a virtual team, you're not going to be able to touch it and, get familiar with that. And so what does everyone do for training? They create a PowerPoint and they give you a picture, followed by a picture, followed by a picture, and a whole bunch of bullet points. But we don't do that. So what we did is, instead of walking through a catalog or just talking at someone for a long time, describing all the differences in customization options, we created a story. So we gave every learner, here's your cheer team. So we put up a picture of a cheerleading team and we said, this is your cheer team. They've got a cheer competition coming up, but as you can see, they need a new uniform. So it's your responsibility to customize a uniform. Your team name can be anything you want, colors, anything you want, any customization you want. Go off and do that, and then we come back. And so it's fun. It's a fun, memorable learning experience. And what's really incredible about it is they actually learned, which we measured, a lot more doing it this way, working independently and poking around and trying this with that and trying to figure out why this looks better with that, but that one doesn't work, or the system doesn't actually let you pair these 2 things together because it doesn't work. And they learn all of that. Then they come back and they do a fashion show. So now every learner takes turns showing what they created, and they're talking about why they made those choices, just like what they would have to do if they were assisting a customer on a call to make those choices. So we're using the technology. They had websites, a customization tool, and they can figure that all out to create their beautiful masterpiece and then show it off and do that teach back. So you're getting multiple opportunities to discuss the same things, which is far more effective than me just reading a PowerPoint to you or you going through a catalog. So that's a really fun example. We do lots of stuff like that, but I think it's a pretty good example of doing things differently. Something I am very excited to discuss, we talk about innovative training approaches and doing things differently. And Humush is just really well known for doing things differently in general. And so one training program I'd really like to discuss is what we call the Agent AI Certification Training Program. So AI is everywhere. It's certainly not going anywhere. We're learning more and more and more every single day. And in fact, it can be overwhelming at times. And so what we decided to do is arm our agents, customer service agents, with artificial intelligence knowledge. They should know that. Everyone should learn about it. It's fascinating, but also learning about what is it, how does it work in the real world outside of work and your own personal life examples, but then also how do we apply AI concepts here at work? And of course, we have the technology side of our business, right? But we are humans and machines together. And so we have this program that's now preparing agents at the agent level so that they can assist with tuning the machine. We have all this amazing technology that we offer our clients, and our agents can now assist with tuning the machine so that our clients don't have to have an entire team of these engineers and all these experts who've studied this for years, because our agents are able to do that. So in this certification program, we cover CX automation, personalization, prompt engineering, neural networks, deep learning, machine learning, all of it, all these amazing AI concepts, which when you first hear about it, you're, oh my gosh, what are you talking about? But the certification program really focuses on the learner and their level and where they're coming at into this training at, so that they can learn about the concepts and then apply it to our AI tools that we have here at Humash to be that human in the loop. And the really fun part, when I get to the actual training part of this and the training design and development piece of this was a very fun program to develop. And we got to really expand on our skill sets and discover so many amazing AI tools to help us be better at our jobs, but be faster. So for example, I talked earlier about using the correct prompts to get a really good image, an exact image. Like, how could you ever get that construction example I was talking about earlier if you didn't give a prompt like that? You're not ever going to find that exact image you're looking for in stock image library. So you can use it for that. But incredible part about this training, one of the points we're trying to make, and I think we did a really good job of doing this, is it's always human and machine. AI is not going to take over the world. You have to have that human in the loop. And so in this training, a good example is everything that we use, every visual, every activity, everything, AI had a piece in designing that. But of course, we would never go to ChatGPT and say, create me a training and then use that curriculum and, we're done. Of course not. But we were able to use ChatGPT to come up with our learner personas, or come up with a few examples, or help explain some of these concepts that are very challenging to understand in some situations, and then turn around and get our images and our video and our music, and every single image in this entire certification program came from AI. Audio came from AI. And anyone who's ever used an AI image generator, if you've ever wanted to have a human holding something, you may have noticed there's maybe one or two extra fingers. And for this particular training, we left it that way on purpose. So some of our visuals, you look at it and it's kind of goofy and you go, hey, that guy's got like 7 fingers on that hand. But it illustrates the point that you always need the human as well to tell the machine, close, good try, but we need to go back and we need to edit it. So it was a really fun program to create, because we got to explore all of these different tools and then use the tools to teach the content. And of course, you wouldn't be able to do that with everything. If it were any other training other than AI certification, we wouldn't have left the extra fingers that out. So I think that's pretty much what I wanted to cover. Unless you have any questions, I'd be happy to address that.
You have one question. You pretty much covered base on how we as a company use AI to enhance not only the customer experience, but our agent experience. So I'm going to put up a question to share with you. And just so we can get a little bit more, what strategies as a trainer do we employ to foster a culture of continuous learning and knowledge sharing among all our employees throughout the digital transformation efforts?
We do use technology in a lot of different ways. And I mentioned earlier our learning management system. So we have our own learning management system. We call it Humash University. And so within that system, of course, we have on-demand modules, self-paced training modules, all sorts of different ways for learning to happen. And one thing that we do is, again, it's tying technology with the human aspect as well. So for example, we have facilitated a lot of trainings on the concepts of Six Sigma, Lean Six Sigma, as well as Dale Carnegie training and some of these bigger, amazing trainings, leadership training, all of that. But we don't believe that you can just attend a self-paced training on our learning management system on these topics, say leadership, and then now, poof, you're a great leader. You watched the video, right? So you should be good. Or you moved through the activities in the self-paced module we created for you. Of course, that's not ever going to be enough. So we add in the human piece, which is we will still schedule, maybe there's smaller roundtable groups where we can bring some of our learners together and we say, okay, so for Six Sigma or for Dale Carnegie or any of these others, what did you learn? What was your takeaway? And now let's talk about how we're going to actually apply that in your daily life, maybe in your personal life, but here at Humash, with our business, with our clients. How are you going to actually bring that together to make it real, because otherwise it was a really fun, a really interesting training, but now what? So I think we do a really good job of that. And so we can do that by having small live roundtable sessions where we come in and we discuss it, but also through our learning management system, we have discussion boards broken up by topic. And so anyone who attended the training, maybe it was across geos, maybe some of our agents in Jamaica also attended the training. Well, maybe we're not all able to line up on time to be on a call together to discuss, but we can have an online discussion about it. And what's great about that, bringing more technology in, the training and development department, we can go back in and pull what information was shared and say, hey, this is what people are saying. These are the themes. This is what people really got out of it. Or maybe there's even a gap that we picked up on or a question that people still had. And then we can go back and we can create some refresher training or some what we call this just in, some new information, get it out to everybody through email or a chat system or by scheduling another session or micro learning initiative, like a short video like that. So it works out really well. And also with our learning management system, when we do offer on-demand or self-paced training, it's a really great model, especially for our customer service agents, so long as it's the right content. We always make sure it's right content before we turn it into something that's more independent versus classroom training. But what's really great about it is it's not like we're going to take all of our agents off the phones at the same time for a 1 hour training or 2 hour training or however long it may be, because we want to service our customers, of course. And so it's a really great thing that we can use our learning management system to have micro learning or set it up a different way. So maybe it's 2 agents are coming off the phones at a time, so we can stagger it, and it works really well for our business.
Thank you so much, Desiree. And thank you for answering that. Oh my gosh, what an amazing training. I am so excited. I want to train more. We're going to have to do this again. So thank you so much. And yeah, if we have any questions or anything that you guys want to send to Desiree, make sure that you do that. Reply to our emails, comment below, and we'll definitely get you guys over to Desiree. But thank you again, Desiree.
Thank you, Camille. Thank you, Lisa. This is fun. I love talking about training. I can do it all day.
Thanks.